This is Northern Light for Tuesday, July 14th. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Governor Kathy Hochul has ordered a moratorium of up to 1 year on large data centers in New York. We'll have more details ahead.
Also on the show, scientists on a research vessel on Lake Champlain are studying the algal blooms that appear there each summer.
There's going to be blooms. There's great research happening, and it's a public safety issue.
And we'll get a preview of the largest Pan-African music festival in North America. Montreal's Nuits D'Afrique is celebrating its 40th anniversary this summer.
I often hear it's one of the rare festivals where me and my adolescent kid will find something together.
All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us. Support for Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio comes from the Adirondack Land Trust, hosting a public celebration of land conservation on July 16th at the Newcomb Community Center. Complete event details at adirondacklandtrust.org. And from the Middlebury Festival on the Green, family-friendly music and entertainment with performances happening all week this week through Friday, July 18th. Full schedule at festivalonthegreen.org. This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Governor Kathy Hochul has ordered a moratorium of up to 1 year on large data centers in New York. It would be the first statewide temporary ban in the country. As Samuel King with the New York Public News Network reports, the governor's order follows a moratorium bill that the legislature passed last month.
Members of the governor's team say the moratorium bill that lawmakers passed is complicated and will take some time to work through. And Hochul feels the state needs to act sooner to address concerns about large data center projects. Her order pauses state environmental permits for 1 year in order to build a regulatory framework that protects the environment and ratepayers. Earlier this year, she told state regulators to shape plans to require data centers to pay more for their energy or provide their own. She now wants regulators to develop consistent environmental impact standards for the centers, a process that could take up to a year. Hochul also wants to pursue legislation next session that would repeal sales tax exemptions for massive data centers in New York. In Albany, I'm Samuel King for the New York Public News Network.
The pilot of a small plane was killed after crashing near a remote airport in the southern Adirondacks on Sunday evening. Emily Russell has the details.
Ken Andrew was flying from Poughkeepsie in Westchester County to Piseco Lake in the southern Adirondacks on Sunday. Andrew was 74 years old. He was piloting a single-engine, four-seater Cessna plane. According to the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Andrew crashed about 150 yards from the runway at the Piseco Airport. That was around 7 p.m. on Sunday. Officials say after the crash, the plane was engulfed in flames. As of Monday evening, officials hadn't released any details about the cause of the crash. Andrew was the only person on board. According to his LinkedIn profile, Andrew had been a member of the Civil Air Patrol for decades. He also had been teaching aviation maintenance at SUNY Dutchess Community College in Westchester County, near where he lived. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office was assisted at the scene of the crash by state forest rangers, local ambulance crews, as well as the fire departments from Piseco, Lake Pleasant, and Speculator. Investigators from the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board traveled to Piseco on Monday. The crash is under investigation. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
Governor Kathy Hochul says combating the effects of climate change remains a top priority. That's despite a rollback of some emission reduction deadlines under the state's landmark climate law. In an interview with Politico's Energy podcast, Hochul defended the rollback, saying it's still important to move forward on climate goals, but not at ratepayers' expense.
And so that's what we had to do, is just ask for a little more breathing room. It's not a repeal. And I also put $1 billion last year and this year to make up for the fact that we have to slow things down on the time frame. But that billions of dollars is being used to build the energy infrastructure and to help ratepayers.
Hochul says the state is also pushing forward plans for offshore wind energy despite opposition from the Trump administration and expansion of nuclear capacity. Environmentalists and some legislators have harshly criticized Hochul for delaying what they say are critical steps to reducing emissions that cause climate change.
Governor Hochul is pressing the Trump administration for details on reported expansions of several immigration detention facilities in upstate New York. The New York Public News Network's Jimmy Vielkind reports.
Hochul wrote to Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen seeking information about 3 projects. One would expand an ICE holding center in Batavia. Another involves the purchase of a warehouse near Newburgh, and the last would create detention cells at a federal building in Rochester. Murad Ouauda of the New York Immigration Coalition says Hochul is right to press the issue.
New Yorkers deserve to know exactly what's happening in their own communities, and secretly building detention machines in our own backyards is not the answer here.
A Homeland Security spokesperson says the expansion is needed due to a new state law that bars local jails from detaining people for ICE. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
And state officials say a dead beaver near Turtle Island on Lake George has tested positive for rabies. The results come after 2 people were bitten by a beaver in that area about 10 days ago. The DEC said in a press release that it can't confirm whether it was the same beaver that bit the 2 people. Swimmers and boaters are still being told to avoid the waters near Turtle Island on the north end of the lake. The beaver that was found dead could have infected others in the colony around Turtle Island. The DEC said it's closely monitoring the beaver colony and is asking people to report any sightings of beavers behaving unusually in the area. This is NCPR.
You're listening to Northern Light, only here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:09. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around. We'll get a preview of this year's Nuits D'Afrique, the continent's largest Pan-African music festival.
That's coming up in just a few minutes right here on Northern Light. Support for the show comes from the Seagull Festival in Scroon Lake, presenting Mozart's opera Così fan tutti. July 22nd to the 25th. More at seagullfestival.org. And from the Adirondack Community Foundation, where generous donors, fund holders, and change makers come together to address the Adirondack region's biggest challenges, including housing, childcare, and career pathways. adkcommunityfoundation.org. We've been hearing music from David Archibald of Kingston.
Problematic algae blooms occur each summer on Lake Champlain. The New York Public News Network's North Country Bureau Chief Pat Bradley boarded a University of Vermont research vessel to learn more.
Cyanobacteria blooms have already closed beaches in Burlington on some of the hottest days of the season. Scientists in the region are researching the organisms that can occasionally cause a toxic bloom along Lake Champlain shore. A group gathered beside the Eco Center for Lake Champlain, where the research vessel Marcel Melosira is docked. After receiving safety instructions and donning life vests, people boarded.
your step here.
And were led to the ship's interior laboratory by UVM Lake Champlain Sea Grant Associate Director Chris Stepanuk.
We need to be in the classroom while we are leaving the dock area.
As the boat moves past the Burlington breakwater to sail south to Shelburne Bay, scientists provided a primer on their research into the cyanobacteria, or blue-green algae blooms. Lake Champlain Basin Program Chief Scientist Matthew Vaughn offered what he called a Cyanobacteria 101 lesson, noting that cyanobacteria and blue-green algae reference the same organisms.
Cyanobacteria are a large group of primitive bacteria, and they're native to just about every ecosystem on Earth. So they've been in Lake Champlain since it was formed, and most of the time they exist in the lake and they do not cause harm. So cyanobacteria are microscopic. So what you're seeing during a bloom is actually colonies, so many, many thousands of cells clumping together. Now, one thing I always say is that this is a worldwide issue because humans have altered our ecosystem and are now putting more nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen into our fresh waterways. So this is something that is a challenge throughout the country and throughout the world.
When the boat reaches Shelburne Bay, UVM research vessel specialist Eleanor Duva lowers a sample collector or plankton net into the water.
Here we go, down into the water. So we'll send it down until we pretty much can't see it. So that way we're sampling most of the top layer of water, the photic zone. All right, I'm coming up. And there's the net in sight again. So we've scooped up the plankton that were living at the surface of the lake.
Duva takes the sample to the lab and places it in a microscope that displays the contents on a large screen. While it doesn't have much cyanobacteria, an invasive plankton was captured.
Lots of good stuff immediately. And what we're catching right here is the namesake of both the spiny and fishhook water flea have this long tail, I suppose, that is barbed. You can see how all this phytoplankton is stuck to this barb at the end of its tail right there. But all these ones that are moving around on their own are zooplankton.
UVM Vermont Limnology Laboratory research scientist Caitlin Warner says the samples they take in the summer often detect cyanobacteria.
We don't filter out cyanobacteria because we're curious about the entire phytoplankton community as a whole. So our lab at the Vermont Limnology Lab is looking at phytoplankton community composition, what environmental drivers are like changing these communities and how they kind of shift over time in response to changes in weather patterns and nutrient cycling and all of that. So we really are interested in like who's all here and who all kind of exists together and how those patterns might change over time.
The severity and even the existence of cyanobacteria blooms vary from lake to lake. Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation state limnologist Peter Isles says there are numerous factors that lead to more or less cyanobacteria in the water.
Factors like the size and depth of a lake can have a big impact. Certainly the land use in the watershed draining towards each lake is a major impactor. And then just really the whole shape of the lake bottom, how much shallow area you have versus deep area.
Back on shore, Stepanuk says they highlighted cyanobacteria because problematic blooms have been occurring over the past few summers.
It felt like it was the right topic because we knew that they happen, and public safety-wise, we want people to understand it. So that was the reason for the choice, and because I knew there was a number of different researchers engaged in trying to understand and make recommendations around cyanobacteria. There's going to be blooms, there's great research happening, and it's a public safety issue.
The Lake Champlain Sea Grant and the Lake Champlain Basin Program are planning to conduct a public awareness survey to find out what the public knows about lake and watershed issues. In Plattsburgh, I'm Pat Bradley for the New York Public News Network.
And in North Country baseball, the Tupper Lake River Pigs beat the Malone Border Hounds 3-1 at home yesterday. And the North Country Thunderbirds beat the Saranac Surge 8-6 on the road. The teams are off until Thursday. This is NCPR. You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:16. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around after the show for Bird Note. That's coming up at 8:42. With our eyes to the skies, sunset in Gouverneur is at 8:45 tonight, and there's a new moon tonight.
It's going to be hot and humid today. Heat indices expected to rise into the lower 90s to lower 100s, depending on your location. Vermont, southern Ontario, and all of northern New York, except for the high peaks, are under a heat advisory today. If your home is hot, there may be a cooling center near you. These are safe, air-conditioned, designated public spaces that you can go to get some relief from the heat. You can find a list of cooling centers by county on the NCPR Instagram page or our website, ncpr.org. Just search cooling centers and it'll come right up. If you don't have a cooling center nearby, you can cool off at a public pool or a swimming hole, libraries, supermarkets, malls. And tonight, strong to severe thunderstorms are expected this evening and continuing overnight. They'll move from the northwest to the southeast, generally after 7 o'clock tonight. The main hazard for those being damaging winds, large hail, heavy rain, frequent lightnings possible too, even the possibility of a tornado. Stick with NCPR throughout the day today to stay updated on the latest developments in the weather forecast from the National Weather Service. And also because of that potentially hazardous weather, the Hochul Story Slam that was scheduled for tonight at Ostable Brewing in Keysville has been postponed. We'll update you on a new date as soon as we can.
One of Canada's most unique festivals is underway in Montreal, and tonight it kicks off a full week of free outdoor shows on 2 stages. Nuits D'Afrique is the largest Pan-African music festival in North America, and it's celebrating its 40th anniversary this summer. David Summerstein caught up with director Suzanne Rousseau on the streets of Montreal for this preview.
Okay, so we're here in downtown Montreal on Sainte-Catherine, just down the street from where the Nuits D'Afrique outdoor free 2 full stages. Can you describe what the experience is like, what the vibe is like there?
The outdoor portion is really my favorite part because, yes, of course, there's two stages. There's a complete ambiance. There's the Timbuktu market. I mean, it's really, this market is really original. We've been working with the market since the 1990 because it's a anniversary edition. I go in my archives and I see when we were on Saint Laurent Boulevard, there were the tables, no tents, and now the market has grown, of course, and the designers, the younger designers with the African boo-boos and different cuts. These merchants, they travel to their country of origins during the winter, and they come and bring us these original pieces during the summer, during the festival. Just the market is something else. When we do the programming in one day, we make sure we travel. The founder always reminds us, did we travel in one day? So we travel different countries with a mix of international and local artists.
That's one of the things that I love so much about the festival is you see all these different families and different cultures, and sometimes you'll see a big burst of people from Colombia because there's a Grupo Colombiano, there's a Colombian group, or you'll see a big burst of Malian families because there's someone from Mali playing.
Yeah, or Algeria or Haiti. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, we travel not just on stage, but with the festival goers. It's a meeting place that's really important for everybody, and it just shows the richness of meeting a meeting of cultures, what happiness it creates, and to discover each other through music and food and dance. It's very, very special. And this 40th edition has a lot of special... There are artists that were discovered by Nuits D'Afrique, and artists that have a very strong connection, international artists and local artists who have grown with us throughout the years.
Tell me about some of those artists who are, connected to the festival for this 40th anniversary, who've been there for many years and how long?
The closing act is Tikenja Fakoli from Ivory Coast. I saw in my archives the first time he came to Nuits D'Afrique was in the year 2000 in a different outdoor space called Émilie Gamelin back then. We have Admiralty from Guadeloupe. Every time he comes, he's got the crowd is just roaring for this ambiance, reggae dance hall, Guadeloupean style with the choreography. We have the creator of soukous from the called Diblo Dibala. We have from the Haiti Tabou Combo, which are legends. They've been around since the 70s, so they're older than the festival. They've come a few times. They're very connected to Nuits d'Afrique. There's the Colombian group we discovered a few years back called Sistema Solar. Wow, what a nice discovery we had.
I'm so excited to see them.
So we were happy they were touring and we could bring them back. We discovered last year a group from the Congo called Fulu Muziki. They were in a small indoor intimate venue, Balatu, and the place was, the ceiling almost jumped off because there was so much ambiance, and their instruments are made out of material, a different material.
Like found material,
recycled,
stuff.
and then so they have a strong message for the environment. But they play the music with these materials, and they have a different costumes with them, and like the younger urban but still very Congolese show that will be outdoor for free this time. There's L'Afrique en Cirque. This concept was created in 2013. It's a mix of acrobats, live music, and circus acts.
It's almost like an African version of the Cirque du Soleil.
Yes.
Like speaking of Montreal. Right?
Yes, actually, you could say that.
One of the things that's really exciting about this festival is you have throughout the year the Sili d'Or, which is like a battle of the bands for all the African and Pan-African bands who live here in Montreal. And so then you feature the winners here during the festival in the summer.
It's new talent that's formed, or artists have just arrived here in Montreal and have to start over their career. So you've got a mix of genres and generation.
Who won the Sili d'Or? Who should we be really excited about from that competition?
Oh, there's a Zalam Kao. Those are friends from high school. And what's really beautiful and really reflects Montreal, you've got an artist from Tunisia, originally from Tunisia, from Colombia, from Haiti, from Algeria. They're all mixed together and making music, and they do it so well because they've found a way of transitioning their genres so we can hear all these different genres from their country of origin of their parents because they were all born here. That's really beautiful to see.
you've been the artistic director of Nuits D'Afrique for many, many years, decades, right?
Yes.
And now the director
with Mr. Touré.
Lamine
Yes,
Touré,
yes.
the founder.
Yes.
What excites you now? You do this every year.
There's so much talent to discover. It's always challenging. It's always new. I mean, the world moves. There's nothing static. So even culturally, musically, there's so much going on. And with the new technologies, the artists create differently and discover other artists because they do it throughout the festival. That's why the meeting is important. I often hear it's one of the rare festivals where me and my adolescent kid will find something together. That's really also very important because at the adolescence, usually we don't find anything with our parents. But at Nuits d'Afrique, you do. There's a special song, a 40th hymn. How do you say it?
A hymn, yeah.
It's sort of the We Are the World for Nuits d'Afrique that were composed and sung with many international names. And they all did this voluntarily. And the le refrain, the chorus, with 10 local artists. It's called Unis par les nuits, United by the Nights. And I'm really proud of this song if everybody wants to listen to it.
Que c'est si bon d'être unis par les nuits.
That's Suzanne Rousseau, the director of Nuits d'Afrique, the Pan-African Music Festival in Montreal. She spoke with David Summerstein. Starting tonight through Sunday, there are 2 outdoor stages with dozens of free concerts in the heart of downtown Montreal. There are also indoor, special paid concerts. For the entire lineup, go to our website, ncpr.org.
De Montréal aux 4 horizons, sous le même tempo, même pulsation. Hey, laissons voyage sans condition, une même flamme, une même vibration. Oh yeah. Dundunita mankanye, ulubele kelenema, Festival Nuits d'Afrique, Bambela, Carodia, 40 ans Sambilani.
Northern Light is supported by Keys Financial Services, now partnered with BK Capital LLC, offering investments, financial planning, and insurance for over 35 years. Offices in Lake Placid and Durham, Connecticut. Keys-financial.com. And from McFadden Deer Insurance in Canton, Potsdam, and Gouverneur, encouraging North Country residents to support local nonprofit organizations that provide services to those in need. McFaddenDeer.com. That's it for the show. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Be well.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Dave Mattingly. President Trump says the U.S. is reinstating its naval blockade of Iranian ports. This follows 3 consecutive nights of American airstrikes against Iranian targets in response to Iran attacking commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Countries in the European Union, as well as Japan, have agreed to contribute about $1 billion to help rebuild water and health systems in Gaza. Here's NPR's Emily Fang.
Much of Gaza's buildings are destroyed, and the United Nations says about 70% of Gazans, or about 1.7 million people, are internally displaced, many living in makeshift tents. Rebuilding has been slowed down by ongoing Israeli strikes and because Israel restricts what can go into Gaza, including heavy machinery and